Ukraine bombards Russia, forcing Moscow airports to close. Ukraine unleashed one of its largest drone bombardments of the war before dawn on Tuesday at targets across Russia, including dozens of strikes directed at the Moscow region. Russian Ministry of Defense claims to have shot down 337 drones, with at least 91 sent toward the capital and the region around it. At least 2 people were killed and 14 were injured in Moscow. All 4 international airports were temporarily suspended because of the attack. Ukraine proposed an immediate truce in the air, saying it would immediately stop long-range strikes into Russia if Moscow agreed to an equivalent halt. Russia has maintained its relentless bombardment of Ukrainian civilian and military institutions. Ukraine launched a significant drone attack across Russia, targeting various locations, including the Moscow region, marking one of the largest bombardments in the ongoing conflict. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported intercepting 337 drones, with 91 aimed at Moscow, where the mayor noted it was the largest assault on the city since the war began, resulting in casualties and property damage. The attacks prompted temporary suspensions at all for international airports serving Moscow, affecting millions of travelers due to drone strikes that damaged a residential building. Ukraine has proposed an immediate air truce, suggesting that it would halt long-range strikes into Russia if Moscow reciprocates, aiming to build trust for future negotiations about the war. High-level talks between Ukraine and the U.S. are set to take place in Saudi Arabia to explore potential pathways to end the conflict, which has seen significant losses on both sides. Despite ongoing Russian bombardments targeting Ukraine, President Zelensky announced plans to produce a large number of long-range drones and missiles this year, emphasizing Ukraine's resilience and military capabilities. Recent developments on the battlefield indicate a precarious situation for Ukrainian forces in the Kursk region, with reinforcements being sent as Russian forces, aided by North Korean troops, make gains in the area. The Trump administration reversed course on Tuesday in an announcement that the U.S. would resume sharing real-time intelligence with Ukraine, while also unpausing shipments of military aid. In a joint statement with a delegation from Ukraine's government, U.S. officials indicated that the shift in focus would be aimed at pressuring Russia to come to the table and agree to a ceasefire in Ukraine within 30 days. Ukraine expressed readiness to accept the U.S. proposal to enact an immediate interim 30-day ceasefire, which can be extended by mutual agreement of the parties, and which is subject to acceptance and concurrent implementation by the Russian Federation. The United States will communicate to Russia that Russian reciprocity is the key to achieving peace, read a joint statement released by the 2 countries' delegations. The statement also noted the gratitude of the Ukrainian government and its people for continued U.S. assistance. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio led the talks with his Ukrainian counterparts in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, after departing Washington a day earlier. He confirmed that the offer would now be presented to Russia's government. Today, we've made an offer that the Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire and into immediate negotiations to end this conflict in a way that's enduring and sustainable, said the secretary. President Donald Trump urged Russia's head of state, Vladimir Putin, to come to the negotiating table in remarks to reporters shortly after the joint announcement from the U.S. and Ukrainian delegations. In recent days, the U.S. president has expressed confidence and admonished reporters, in the face of questions regarding whether he had specific guarantees of Russia's willingness to negotiate in good faith. But it remains unclear if he plans to leverage any new pressure on Moscow to make that happen. Hopefully, President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road, Trump said on Tuesday. Trump paused real-time intelligence sharing to Ukraine and halted all planned aid shipments 1 week ago after a clash in the Oval Office with Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine's president. The confrontation was cheered by his fans but widely mocked and treated with disgust around Europe. Major U.S. allies, including the U.S. and France, took the blow-up as the latest sign of a significant shift in U.S.-Europe relations. Conversations across Europe about decreasing strategic reliance on the United States and the creation of an international peacekeeping force immediately ratcheted up, with Britain and France vowing to support Ukraine in America's absence. Trump and J.D. Vance, his partner in crime for the duel with Zelensky, were depicted as childish and unreliable, even ignorant, in media coverage and on social media platforms across the Western world. On Monday, he'd hinted that the talks surrounding a U.S.-brokered ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine were making great progress. But it's uncertain how significantly ties between Washington and Kyiv have mended. The status of a rare earth minerals deal from which Zelensky walked away after his Oval Office meeting remains unclear. And on Sunday, the U.S. president once again derided his Ukrainian counterpart as ungrateful in a televised Fox News interview, referring to Mr. Zelensky and the military support provided to Ukraine under the Biden administration. The U.S. president said, "It was like taking candy from a baby what Zelensky did. He's a smart guy and he's a tough guy and he took money out of this country under Biden like candy from a baby."